Hey Spiro, it's me, T. Fuller. Just starting your game. As you can see, I have colored the old map there to help me remember which section is which, and colored the tokens due to having a black and white printer only right now. I'm digging it. I'm just coming up to a combat phase here that's in the yellow, at which I didn't realize at first, and I'm just wondering if maybe in the combat phase 3.1.4 it should maybe say early on that if you're in a yellow or green section, there's a police presence. In the yellow section, the police come. I also don't see in the combat order table police are, let me see, yeah, they just have a P. So what order do they attack in? Let me flip to the page here. I guess it says instantly attack the pirates, so they attack first, I guess. So then if their attack doesn't destroy or eliminate, then it moves on down the COT table, the combat order table. Is that's correct? If so, maybe it's a good idea to have in this combat phase. Combat happens in a certain order, and then somehow worded in there, if you're in the yellow zone, then the police presence, the police make themselves known immediately and take the first attack or something like that. As I'm kind of going through this, I thought I'd just maybe make a quick note of things that have come up as I've been going. So far else, there's nothing really else that's come up. I just put, for my own benefit, a little legend of the symbols, just so I remember. I know that this probably isn't your final size by any stretch. I realize it's just a kind of tester version or whatever. So I imagine that things like the pirate symbol down there that appear small because I only printed it on a one sheet, I'm assuming are going to be much bigger, so the symbols will be more recognizable. So some things like that I comment on. Obviously, I'm knowing full well that this probably is not the final size by any stretch, so I don't want to spend too much time on that kind of thing. But yeah, so far I think I've got the handle on it. I've picked up something in a port. Now, I started at Genesis and I didn't count that as a turn. I kind of counted moving to the spot as picking up the cargo, basically, and then on my next turn, when I go to wherever I end up going to, if I go back to this port or whatever, to drop it off, that would be in turn 2. I also noticed that there's no real marker for the when your turn, I'm on a time sensitive one. I'm just going in the order of the contracts, which this one is the destroy blockades, which I just messed up here. I believe they were here. My blockades appeared right there. It might, I don't know, I just circled it because it's no big deal. I can always erase it later. Maybe there's a specific token that has contract deadline on it or something like that, where you can mark it if you feel that that's necessary. I don't know if it's really necessary. Again, I guess it depends on what the final game is going to look like. So yeah, that was the thing that came up this time. I'll let you know if there's anything else. Not 100% sure if I've done this right either. This ship purchase phase, if you have enough money and you wish to purchase a new ship, you may do so before the end of the game turn. After all, your ships have made their individual turns. Only one ship may be purchased per turn. So does that include the very first turn? Because the very first turn I bought that cargo ship, and then I bought the fighter ship. So when I bought the cargo ship, I played all these 3.1 turns, and then I went and bought that fighter ship and did all the 3-point turns, and then I went to the police response phase ship, and I'm just in this ship purchase phase. So does that mean I can buy another one, even though I've kind of sort of bought two, but I mean, you start off with one and then I bought a second one. I'm guessing, I mean, right now I only have one credit because the fuzz killed the pirates, so I couldn't collect that bounty on them. So I couldn't anyway, but it's just, that's mildly unclear to me as far as can I still buy one if I had the credits, or does this fighter kind of count as the one that I've bought for this first turn and now I have to move to the second turn, or have I screwed it up right from the beginning? Do I just buy the one ship, send it on its way, go to 3.2, then go to turn number 2 and buy the fighter ship, turn number 3 buy another one, turn number 4? Kind of unclear on that. I'm sticking with this right now. And then I'm guessing that the police stay on the board because they weren't damaged, they weren't destroyed. Do they even have a damaged side? I don't believe they do. No, they don't. Does it stay on the board now the rest of the game? Does it live in this hex? So anytime something comes up pirate-wise, they'll be kind of the first responders. I don't remember seeing that either, but maybe it's a moot point. I'll kind of play it through and see if it even matters. I guess one other thing now that I'm starting turn 2 is what's stopping me as this player from just doing this for the rest of the game, just going and collecting cargo, bringing it back here to the trade port to get rid of it, going to collect another one, going back and forth. Maybe you can only collect from each port once. Maybe there's a chit that's goes over it where a trade has already happened. Once you've got something from that port, you place a marker on it that you can't return to it, so it forces you to explore more of the map. I'll read through the bits again. Maybe I did miss that. Maybe I missed that section, which is always possible. As you've seen in my other videos about the games, I'm missing important rules all the time. But yeah, that's my immediate thought right now. Just realized, so I landed on this for one of my barricades, and I also see that it doesn't have an icon on it, so it's a general sector, is that right? So not only is the barricade on there, the pirate ship appears, then I also have to do a roll on the general sector, correct? That's resolved immediately. General encounter, yes. So that's my mistake. Am I right about that? Does the objective supersede any sort of other icon that appears on there? Not that there's any. Oh, actually that one does. So that one has a pirate icon on it already. So does that mean when I get there, the pirate appears for that icon, plus the pirate appears because that's the objective that I'm playing? So 2 pirate ships basically show up on that hex there. Yeah, I'll start playing it like that actually on this turn and see what happens. I destroyed one of them on turn 5, game turn 6. I have to turn 10 to destroy these other 2. We'll see what happens. So I'll throw that into the mix and see what happens there. The other thing I just noticed here, the green sector, so I guess 2 points. My guy, maybe there should be a disengagement roll to see if you can move to another hex if you're in combat. We both had misses the previous turn, but then I just moved on my way. I just left him behind. There was a cop that appeared in the sector, so I know that when I'm in this turn, that cop is now going to engage that pirate himself, so I don't really need to worry about it. Is there any sort of roll maybe that has to happen to disengage that battle to move on, to see if you can actually do it, or if you're locked in combat till either you or the police destroy the pirate ship. The other thing that I just realized is what do the police have to roll to destroy the ship? It has a modifier of 2. Did I miss that somewhere? If there's a pirate ship in any IGC sector, a police craft will appear. It's immediately resolved as in per section 3.1.4. It just talks about the different classes, and then you cross-reference. Talks about the damage in the pirate ship, so it doesn't actually say. So I'm rolling a die. If I get a 4, it's a +2. What does that mean? Does a 6 damage it? Does a 6 destroy it? I will look again. Maybe I did miss it, but that's something that's coming up right now as well. Do the pirate ships, if the police miss the pirate ships when they're left alone in these hexes, do the pirate ships return fire on the police units? If so, can they destroy them? Do they get a bonus if they destroy a police ship? Can they maybe, their bonus be that they can chase after the nearest other ship? Or what are the thoughts there? Again, with these ones, because this is my objective, there's pirate ships already here. Does that mean I negate the symbol that's already there? If so, maybe just a simple note on the... Let me just make sure the contracts section, rescue colonists, diplomatic... Yeah, no, it doesn't say. Maybe a note of disregard any symbols that are there, or do you want me to engage? If so, that would be 2, 4, 6 pirate ships total, which I guess if that's it, that's it. Seems pretty difficult, but I guess if... Well, you do have to kill all of the pirate ships to get the full reward. Yeah, so that's my question on that. I'm going to play it as there's these ones that exist there, and that's what you fight. Disregard the X there, even though I didn't up here. It's left me in a kind of locked battle here where I keep getting damaged, I keep healing myself on the next turn, then I get damaged. I've been able to unable to damage a ship or the last of the blockades. Just finishing game turn 11 already, managed to destroy 2 of the other ones. Seems to be a little bit locked into some die rolling stuff here that maybe I don't know how to change that. I mean, because that's just the way that it is. This one here also seems to be a little like I just keep going back and forth. I mean, there's no motivation for me to explore further. I guess one motivation is to go over here and get the 2 times, but that means having to pass through pirate territory, which isn't really appealing to me, just to gamble on maybe getting 2 times the dice. It just seems like a safer bet to travel between these ones, or travel between these ones, since I could start on Genesis, or I guess I could also start on these safe zones too, which would pass me through that. Yeah. Maybe even there's a die roll that tells you where you're going to start at the beginning of the game. I don't know how that would really map out unless it's kind of limited to the green and the yellow section. The hexes that are in there determine where you're going to start and whether you come into combat at the beginning of the game with a pirate ship. Just a thought, because that part seems now at this point in time it's a little tedious for me just to keep remembering, just move it this way, move it there. Did I move it back? Did I move it there? Sitting at 15 for that so far. I've been utilizing the Winter War nice little cheat as far as when I move, I just turn one of them. I don't know if that's something that needs to be said or if that's somebody's up to their own determination when they're playing the game. Anyway, I'll let you know if anything else comes up or by the time I get to the end. General sector here. So I did the roll the previous turn. It was, what was it? I think it was a pirate on that one. I had asteroid field as well before on a different spot. But because I didn't destroy the second pirate, I could only destroy one. I still have, for my contract there, I still have to destroy this other one. I start a second turn on that same hex. I'm assuming that even though I didn't make a movement, I still, if I end my movement on a general sector with no other icons, I make a roll, that I make a roll again, even though I've already made a roll on this previous turn. Because it's a new game turn, I'm making a new roll to see what I come up with. Yes, no, I mean that sounds right to me, but maybe that gets clarified as well too. Even if you start your turn in an unmarked hex, you still make the encounter roll to see what you come up against. Question mark. 533 black hole. Your ship is caught at the edge of a black hole. Roll a d6, and on a 5 plus you manage to reroute enough power to the engines to escape its gravitational field. On a roll of 1, your ship is sucked in and lost forever. Otherwise, it is trapped for 1 turn. So I rolled a 5. Place a black hole marker on the hex and leave it there for the remainder of the game. The sector is now off limits. What I assumed that meant was I was still in this battle with the pirate ship as I make a mess of everything there. So we were sharing the hex, but because I had to kind of rediscover what I was going to encounter on that hex that came up, I dealt with that first. That seemed like in the order of things to do. Encountering was the way to go. So because I escaped the gravitational field, I took that as I escaped it and I have to leave the hex behind because you can't remain in it. So I went to Valhalla, which means that I didn't make my is that what it's called? Sorry. Yeah, Valhalla, which means that I didn't complete my contract. The pirate ship is sucked into the black hole, I assume, and I can no longer go back to that hex, but I did not complete my contract. Is that right? I rolled a 5 or a 6, so I had enough power of the engines to escape its gravitational field, move 1 hex away from the black hole, from the encounter, something like that worded, if that is indeed what I'm supposed to do. And then the token just stays there and that hex is off limits. That pirate ship is destroyed, which I guess leads to another question. There's no pirate ships left. I'm in Valhalla, even though I didn't destroy the pirate ship myself. Does that mean that I've completed that contract, which is next page over, diplomatic mission. Reward 40 microcredits or reduced to 15 if diplomat arrives safely at Valhalla, but any pirate ships are still alive. No pirates are alive, even though they weren't by my hand. I'm going to take that as that I got 40 points. Yes, no, maybe so. Yeah, that's that little nugget. So big old 161 there on game turn 20. That's when my kind of contracts were up. Turn 5, turn 7, 12, and 16. So the A, B, C were those barricades there, and D was the diplomat who made it to Valhalla. Ended up selling off 2 of the ships at the end to make it work, to put me over the top. Tried to attack a couple more to even put me further over the top. Overall, pretty great. I really like the idea of it. There's quite a bit of bookkeeping for sure, and really have to come up with a system, the player, like this left up to the players is what I mean by this, as to how much how they take care of each of their ships. Like I said, even if it's you do one turn with it and then you turn it. I like the idea of going through the player turns for each ship, so going through 3.1 sections all the way through for each ship before you move to the police response, before you move to the ship purchase phase, ship purchase or selling phase, and then moving to the end turn. I really like that idea. It makes it easier to keep it all in line as far as what you have to do for each ship. So this one is going to move here. What does that mean? Did I encounter anything? Is there something to combat? Do I pick up some stuff depending on the space? That really worked for me well. I found once I was done the missions though with my kind of fighter ships, there was really nothing else left for me to do but kind of instigate fights. What I wouldn't mind seeing is, especially for the... Oh, I didn't see that. I rolled that wrong on that last turn. Doesn't matter. He still would have been damaged because it would have been a 5. Because I rolled a 6 on the A. Because it's a -1... I don't know. Is there any ships? Is there any pirate ships that are A class, A or B, where they have an addition? There must be. Because I'd like to see the chances that I would have still gotten destroyed. I know that sounds strange, but a little higher to some degree. Maybe for an A class, because it engages in combat so quickly, maybe there's more of a chance that it's going to make a direct hit. I don't really know. It feels like there's something that needs to be done with those, because it really does get into those turns of, I take a turn and fight it. My next turn comes along, I repair it. Can you repair while you're in battle? Maybe that's something. Like if you're locked into a battle, maybe you can't repair yourself. Maybe you have to be away from the pirate ship that still exists, which then brings in that point before of what I was saying of like a disengagement type of roll. So you've sustained damage, you want to get the hell out of there. Well, you're locked into this battle on a roll of 4 to 6, you get to disengage. If not, you're still locked into the battle, which then there's a chance of your ship getting destroyed. I don't know, maybe something like that. Maybe that ramps it up a little too much as far as difficulty. I don't know. Yeah, I think those are my thoughts. It picked up near the end especially. I thought kind of halfway through there's no chance in hell I'm going to make 150. And then all of a sudden, with the addition of a couple more ships, hitting this double as far as when I was shipping cargo really helped. I even gambled on the triple once, even though I encountered a pirate on it. I made it away unscathed, and I think ended up getting like 15 points or 15 credits for it. Yeah, what else can I say about it? I liked it for sure. I can see if you add more contracts, the difficulty in doing all the bookkeeping might be a little much. Like I said, even with the 2 contracts, I only had 5 ships on the board, and it was kind of difficult at times to keep track and remembering what I'm doing and going through those game turns. What also might be nice is another, even if it's attached to the game board as in the old SPI ways, maybe a little cheat sheet with the general encounter table, so that's something that is just right in your face all the time. The combat resolution we already did already. The combat order is on there already. The game turn order is on there already, which is great. Maybe the legend just with the symbols and what they mean, what they stand for. But yeah, maybe the encounter table on there as well too. Even if you had like a little bulleted list of the ion storm, asteroid field, black hole, pirate attack as well. Yeah, I liked it. I'll probably give her another shot tomorrow night as well. The other thing I came into was it's quite a lot of cargo chits. Maybe, I don't know if I'd ever get into a situation where I'd have that many ships on the board where I'd need all of those. Maybe there's adventurous players out there who can really keep track of things where they're going to really utilize the capabilities of like the 1s, the 2s, and the 3s, and really have them stockpiled. But I guess maybe you could even have that as on one side it's kind of marked, one side is a 1, you can flip it over and it's a ×2. Maybe there's another one that has a ×3 and a ×4, or I don't know, just a ×3. Or maybe there's just ones that are double-sided that are at 1, other ones that are ×2 and ×3 on the flip side. Maybe cut down the amount of smaller chits that you include. Loved the ships. I know that it's just kind of art that you took off of the internet, but I think it worked for me. I like the silhouettes and everything. I was also thinking with some of these that have a die roll modifier, when you get damaged, the only thing that really happens is the cost of your ship goes down. I was thinking maybe there's for that game turn, since it's not simultaneous attacking, for that game turn, if you do get damaged, maybe you lose that die roll modifier. So on the flip side, it's to a 0 as some sort of penalty. I don't know, maybe again, maybe that's a little too hard ass of me. But yeah, maybe something like that happens as well, because I was never really going to sell these ships because it seemed like it's a good opportunity to just go and try to capture pirates and gain that extra couple of credits, because I think there was some that were worth 5, weren't there? Yeah, I pulled one that was worth 5, so I don't really think that that would come into play for me. Maybe there's other people that it would come into play for, but just a thought there. But yeah, right on, Spiro. Thanks for the files and thanks for the game. I'll play again, and kind of if there's anything else that comes up, I'll be sure to let you know. But I'll send you this video, and hope to hear from you soon. Thanks. One last thing, just the 20 game turns I think is a great number. I thought at first that it might be too long, but it plays super fast, which I really like. So 20 is a great number. And just to also throw in there, you're well aware of my ignorance of rules with some of these games I've played, so if any of the suggestions are just flat out me not reading things properly, just completely disregard and feel free to mock me at your discretion.